On the slideshow, it shows that we met in front of the Phi Kappa Tau fraternity house at Ohio State University. Now, let me explain. I was lounging with my fraternity brothers out in front of the house, just minding my own business,
trolling,
not looking for a wife or anything like that. And along comes two gals from the Kappa house up the street. And one of them knew a friend of mine, and so we said hello. And then the next thing you knew, Rosanne and I and the others were touring around all over the campus to look at the various displays. Well, I went back to the house and I thought, well, that's it. Next thing I know, somebody says, you know that gal that you walked around the campus with? She'd sure like you to call her. Well, part of it, of course, was that I figured I didn't have a chance anyway, since she was so beautiful. But anyway,
that's why it's 50 years.
Anyway, I did call her. And in case you missed it, it was 1962, 2 years before we were married. So, Rosanne, you know, when I go to reminiscing, I always think about that song from the Fantastics. Do you remember a time? Okay, I'm sure you all know that. And you don't want to subject yourself anymore to my singing. But I always remember that. And Rosanne, I wondered if you might remember what happened after that. What was our first date?
Oh, was that what it was? I don't recall all the things that he said. Well, yes, he was relaxing. He was lying on the lawn. And, you know, that should have told me something. He still likes to lie on the couch, on the recliner. Anyway. And he said...
That wasn't our date.
I know. But when he said we were looking at the homecoming displays, you know, they have all these out there. That's what we did. It took a lot. There was a lot of things we could do looking at those displays besides just talking, but I know we did talk. Anyway, okay. I don't know whether I did say, maybe I'd like to meet that guy. I'm not sure. That was a long time ago. But anyway, yes, he did call me. And, you know, at this time, I was employed. I was teaching school. He's still trying to get out. But anyway, he called me, and, you know, he wanted to meet me again. And I said, oh, sure, yeah. Well, I said, how about Sunday afternoon? And I thought maybe he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. He doesn't say these things. He just, oh, yeah, that would be fine. Yeah. I don't know what he thought about that. But anyway, I said, we're going to go grocery shopping. Grocery shopping? But I had to go grocery shopping because I was living with two girls, and we had this beautiful old apartment near campus, and one of the girls was a home economics major. She graduated in home economics. I had no idea that she was so intense on this home economics stuff, which meant that we had a big apartment, huge apartment, large living room, full dining room. And so she said we should all have meals every single night. And we took turns cooking these meals. And we didn't have a bunch of frozen stuff back then. And so I had to go get some groceries so I could cook these meals. Anyway, so took him to the grocery store, got out of the car, and I said, well, you're supposed to push the cart. He said, push the cart? Yeah, he grew up, he never pushed his mother's cart. He never went to the grocery store with his mother because they had a grocery of their own, actually, because they owned a restaurant down in Chillicothe, and that's where his dad got all the stuff, all the produce and everything like that, took it home. So that was sort of strange to him, you know. But anyway, he did. He pushed the cart. We came back to the apartment, and he kind of started to, you know, want to hang around a little bit. And I didn't know how to get rid of him because I had another date that night. But anyway, speaking of food, Bill, do you remember the pie deception?
Oh boy, do I remember the pie deception. I didn't find out about it until much later, but let me tell you, this gal can lie like nobody else. It was finals week and I was studying as hard as I could, and I just studied and studied and studied, and then I told Rosanne, I said, you know, we can't get together because I have so many things that I have to study for. Well, lo and behold, here she shows up at our apartment. I live with two other guys at our apartment, and she's got a pie in her hand. And she knew that I love pies because I told her that. And I thought, oh, that's great. Here, I have this very attractive young lady, and she also can cook. Oh, so I was so happy. And then within 2 more days, she shows up again at the door of the apartment with another pie. I said, I've got to go into heaven. Here she is, attractive, and she can cook pies one after the other. Well, let me tell you, it was years later I found out that she didn't make those pies. She bought frozen pies. Now, this was back when frozen pies were not really a big deal. Nobody knew about them. But she found out about them. And so that was the big pie deception. Now, that wasn't the only dessert that helped us through our courtship. Rosanne, do you remember another dessert that helped us through our courtship?
They work on it every year.
Yes. Because, you know, we both love to eat. I got to say that right now. It shows on both of us. But, you know, that was one thing I never had to worry about because he'll eat anything. Just like, you know, that commercial, that little boy. Mikey. Yeah, give it to Bill.
Oh, Mikey.
He'll eat it, you know, anyway. That's been wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Yes, the other delicious dessert was from his family. You know, he took me down to meet his mom and dad. He said that he hardly ever, he didn't take any other girl down there to meet his mom and dad. It's true, yeah. He lies like I do. But anyway, got there, and his mom and dad, the family had a restaurant called Fisher's Delicatessen in Chillicothe, Ohio, 40 miles south of Columbus. So we went down there, and you know, his dad was just wonderful and everything, and had all of those old time, all of those kinds of ice cream. I mean, 20 or I don't know how many there were.
25 different ice creams.
25 different ice creams. And then and I don't know, I said, oh, you know, do you make hot fudge? He said, oh, would you like a hot fudge sundae? Yeah. This is the best hot fudge you've ever been. It came out of the, you know, the big thing where they did the, I mean, this was a good hot fudge. This was so good that, what did I tell your dad?
Well, you said, Bob, no, you didn't say Bob, Mr. Fisher. You said, Mr. Fisher, I would like to have a whole lot of hot fudge in my sundae, but just a little teeny bit of ice cream.
And your dad did it, and he did it again and again, and that was just so wonderful. I thought, I've never had, and still do not have had a hot fudge sundae like he could take right out of. It was still warm, the hot fudge stuff, and drippy. Oh, it was wonderful. But you know.
Did you have any more questions about? Did anybody ask you any more questions about us?
No. Yeah, no, because they wanted to know about the honeymoon. Do you remember any stories from that?
Well, yes, I do. Don't forget, this is back in the 60s, and this was possible. I had, from my jobs, I had saved up $300 for our honeymoon. So we got in the car and we took off, and we went to Niagara Falls, we went to Sturbridge Village in Massachusetts, we went to Cape Cod, and got back home, and I still had some money. No credit cards either. So that was quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, you don't know where we stayed. Some of those little places, you know, little cottages where you have to go to the bathroom outside. Showers outside. But, okay. Anyway. Well, was there anything unusual that happened? And maybe a little bit embarrassing, too?
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, there was one thing. Yeah, maybe just one thing. Yeah. I had seen a movie where this couple had sailed on the bay, and they tied a bottle of wine on the back of their boat, and they sailed along, and they were so happy and everything because the water kept the wine cool. And then they had some bread and cheese, and I thought, boy, that's romantic. So I decided to do that on Cape Cod Bay. Well, I had persuaded the guy that rented a boat. I said, yeah, oh sure, I can sail. Well, you can guess what happened next. I got out because the wind was blowing out. I didn't know what to do after that. So there we were stuck out in Cape Cod Bay. And finally, a good Samaritan came along and said, y'all need some help? Well, I didn't say y'all, because that was Massachusetts. But I, of course, said, yeah, I think we could use a little help. So he threw us a line and towed us back in, where I could then turn the boat back in without the cops after me.
What about the wine?
Yeah, did you have the wine?
Oh, we drank the wine.
Actually, we were going to put this in, but you know, this is the other thing that happened. He seemed to be good at getting stuck on that vacation because we had this little Volkswagen Beetle, and again, he had seen that, you know, cars go on the sand. He said, well, I saw how they do it in Daytona Beach.
They do it in Daytona?
They just roll out there. So he, wanting to be romantic again, so we could see the moon or whatever, he drove the Volkswagen out onto the sand. What happened, Bill?
Well, let me say this. Did you ever have your wife sit in the car and rock back and forth while you're back there at the back with all the sand hitting you in the face trying to get out of the sand? That's what happened to me. Finally, we did have some people come along and help us. So those are two little minor things that happened. I mean, that was no indication of anything that was to happen after that.
That's true. You know, if you can get through all of that and help one another. Oh, well. Anyway, that's young love. But enough now. Let's get back to the present, 50 years together. We're celebrating an accomplishment and in the process of fulfilling a commitment we made on August 16th, 1964. Borrowing the words to have and to hold from the marriage ceremony, we have and still hold. To have a half century together takes stamina and some very important core values. We will continue to hold on to our Christian love and faith with mutual respect, integrity, honesty, and further commitment.
Thank you, and seriously, thank you to our gracious God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and to all of you and hundreds more who have helped us enjoy this journey to our 50-year anniversary. It hasn't always been easy. We don't always get it right, but with the gentle guidance of all, we have made it through. Now, I think it's appropriate that because you all have helped us, that you all stand up and give a little applause for all of you who have helped us through this 50 years of marriage.